Your brother had a pretty good night the other night against my Mariners, and now officially 17th all-time in strikeouts.
Yes, he is now 17th all-time on the Major League Baseball strikeout list. How cool is that? My brother is 17th all-time on the Major League Baseball strikeout list, passing John Smoltz. He is now the active leader in all of Major League Baseball in strikeouts at 3,086. And he's not done. Obviously, he's not done pitching, but he's not done this year passing guys. There are multiple guys in his reach. So he's at 3,086 strikeouts. He's just very close behind CC Sabathia at 3,093. He could get that in his next start. So CC is 16th at 3,093. Kurt Schilling, 3,116 at 15. Bob Gibson is 14th on the list. Pedro Martinez is 13th on the list. And Fergie Jenkins is 12th on this list at 3,192. So Justin is just over 100 strikeouts away from being 12th on the all-time strikeout list. That could theoretically happen this season. Now, the other night, he punched out 12 guys, gave up 1 run, and entered where he is now, 17th on the list. He passed John Smoltz. Now, the cool thing about this for me is that the day Justin did that, the night he passed John Smoltz, is the day that I had John Smoltz on this podcast. I had John Smoltz on Tuesday, and that night Justin passed him, which is a really cool moment for me because I grew up the biggest Atlanta Braves fan that you can find. I mean, I was a massive fan. I grew up 15 minutes from the AAA stadium, the Richmond Braves. They were on TBS every night, so I watched them every day, every night. And that was right in the height of that run of 14 consecutive division titles for the Braves. And it was all Maddox, Smoltz, Glavine, those guys. I was a huge John Smoltz fan. I had him on this show. And had you told 12-year-old Ben that that would happen, that I would have my own show for Fox Sports, and one day I would have John Smoltz on, I would have cried. That's just the truth. I probably would have just broken down and cried. But that is what happened. And on Tuesday, I had on John Smoltz. And that very same night, my brother passed him on the all-time strikeout list. How cool is that? 17th all-time now, the active Major League Baseball leader, and just over 100 strikeouts away from being 12th all-time. Are you kidding me? Absolutely incredible. I could not be more proud of him. I could not be more proud of how he's gotten here, how persistent he has stayed, how long he's done this. He's been doing this my whole life, basically. He's been in the big leagues since I was 12 years old. And he's still doing it. Almost 20 years later. What? Yeah, I was 12. I'm now 30. By my math, that's 18 years. Pretty impressive. And at the end of this year, he could be 12th all time. But that's a could be. Right now, as we speak, he has passed John Smoltz, and he is 17th all time in Major League Baseball strikeouts. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
I mean, luckily, I got to see it happen live as he struck out 12 Mariners in easy fashion. Let's just say that. Your night was a lot more exciting than mine, watching him mow down my guys. But let's stick with those Braves. Talking about he passed John Smoltz. Let's talk about how hot these Braves are since Ronald Acuna has been back and kind of their new trajectory going into the second half of the year.
I sat here a couple of weeks ago and I called out the Atlanta Braves, and I called them out hard. Why? Well, 1, because they stunk. 2, because they're too good to stink. And 3, because I have them in the World Series, and I need them to be better than they have been. And since that moment, they have been light years better. They're in the midst of a 7-game winning streak before this 7-game winning streak. So their first 50 games of the season, they've been outscored by their opponents 223 to 207. That's a negative 16 run differential, scoring 4.1 runs per game. In this stretch, since they have turned it around, since I called them out, they are outscoring their opponents 52 to 20. Plus 32 run differential, scoring 7.4 runs per game. I had this Braves team back in the World Series because I believed that they were a better team than they were last year when, oh, guess what? They won the World Series. Yes, they lose Freddie Freeman. Your team never gets better when you lose a Freddie Freeman. But they did a really good job of locking up that position. They get Matt Olson, who right now might not be as good as Freddie Freeman, but they locked him up for a long time to come. He is younger. He plays great defense. He rakes. He is just a slight tick back. Let's look elsewhere. Ronald Acuna was going to come back this year. He's come back in full force. He even got an all-star vote from me, and you can vote for all-stars now. He got my vote. That's how good he's been. And in just a little while, we're going to do a segment on my all-star votes and producer Conrad's as well. He is back. He is killing it. He's been a big reason for their resurgence. Mike Soroka's expected back at some point this year. That really young rotation, Max Fried, Kyle Wright, they're only going to be better than they were last year, having that World Series experience. But this offense is the reason I picked them to be back, and they just weren't very good until this stretch that they have been on. Now, they're killing it. 7.4 runs per game. Ronald Acuna on this stretch is hitting 500. With 3 homers, 5 RBIs, a stolen base, 8 runs scored.
Thanks for watching. If you love flipping bats, swinging 3-0, or just talking ball, join us. Call us at 213-537-9339 with your questions. We have a weekly guest, and we have a lot of fun, so hit that subscribe button.